The smell of motor oil and burnt coffee had always meant safety to Franklin Hayes. 40 years in the same shop, same workbench, same Mr. Coffee machine that had been brewing since Reagan. That January morning, he was teaching Tyler how to gap spark plugs on the '72 Chevy, the one his daddy had taught him on, the one he'd teach his grandson on. Tyler had his mother's eyes and his grandfather's hands. Good hands for fixing things. Then the black Lexus pulled into the lot. Wrong car for this neighborhood. Too clean, too expensive, too much like trouble rolling up in a three-piece suit. The man who stepped out had a smile that didn't reach his eyes and papers that felt like lead when Franklin took them. Franklin Hayes? Divorce papers. She gets everything. House, shop, full custody of the boy. 30 days to vacate. Two customers waiting for their cars. Tyler's face going white. Derek Voss, that was the lawyer's name, turning to leave with a parting shot. Don't make this harder than it has to be, old man. But that was only the beginning. The customers left quick after that, made excuses about coming back later, wouldn't meet Franklin's eyes. Small towns are like that. Bad news travels faster than good, and nobody wants to stand too close when lightning strikes. Franklin and Tyler cleaned up in silence. The boy swept the floor in careful strokes, stealing glances at his grandfather every few passes. Franklin wiped down the workbench, his hands moving on their own while his mind tried to make sense of what just happened. The paper sat on the counter like a coiled snake. "Grandpa?" Tyler's voice was small. "Why does she hate you?" Franklin's hand stopped mid-wipe. He looked at his grandson, 14 years old, too young to lose his parents in a car wreck, too young to watch his world get pulled apart a second time. The boy had Linda's eyes, Franklin's first wife, had his daughter Sarah's stubborn chin, standing there with the broom, waiting for an answer Franklin didn't have. "Don't know, buddy. I truly don't." They locked up the shop together. Tyler hung his jacket on the hook by the door, the one that used to be his mother's. Franklin cut the lights, and they walked to the truck in the January cold. Their breath made ghosts in the air. The drive home was quiet. Tyler sat close to the passenger door, hugging himself. The radio played low, some song about lost love that Franklin didn't need to hear. He reached over and switched it off. "She was calling Uncle Ray a lot," Tyler said suddenly. "Before all this." Franklin's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Ray? When?" Tyler shrugged. "Couple months, maybe. Heard her on the phone." Ray, his younger brother, hadn't spoken in 20 years, not since the fight over their daddy's estate. Ray had taken more than his share and disappeared, and now Mara was calling him. They pulled into the driveway. The house looked the same as it always did. Small ranch, peeling paint, porch light flickering. But it felt different now. Emptier somehow. Inside, Franklin made mac and cheese. Comfort food, the kind Tyler liked. They sat at the kitchen table, both pushing food around their plates, pretending to eat. The TV murmured in the background. Some news program neither of them watched. The clock above the sink ticked too loud. Franklin looked at the photos on the mantel. Linda, smiling in her Sunday dress. Sarah at 16, covered in grease from her first solo oil change, grinning like she'd won the lottery. The family he'd had, the family he'd lost, piece by piece, until it was just him and Tyler. Tyler cleared the plates without being asked. "I'm gonna go to bed, Grandpa." "All right, buddy. Sleep well." "You too." But Franklin knew he wouldn't. After Tyler's door closed, Franklin spread the divorce papers across the kitchen table. He put on his reading glasses, poured a cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago, and started reading. The first pages were standard. Property division, asset allocation, the kind of legal language that turns life into numbers and checkboxes. The house would go to Mara. The shop, 40 years of his life, the place he'd built with his own hands, that would go too. He'd have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. He turned the page and stopped. Psychiatric evaluation. Cognitive decline. His coffee cup rattled against the table. Patient, Franklin Hayes. Date of evaluation, November 15th, 2024. Evaluating physician, Dr. Marcus Chen, Riverside Medical Center. Franklin read it twice, then 3 times. He'd never heard of Dr. Marcus Chen, never been to Riverside Medical. On November 15th, he had been at the shop all day, replaced a transmission on Bill Henderson's pickup, worked until 7 that night. He could prove it. But here it was, in black and white, a medical report claiming he had early-stage dementia, inappropriate anger, memory lapses, confusion about dates and times. The evidence listed made his stomach turn. Patient forgot to retrieve minor grandson from school, leaving child unattended. That had happened once. He'd been 15 minutes late because a brake job ran over. He'd called the school to let them know. Tyler had been fine. Patient left stove unattended on multiple occasions, creating fire hazard. He'd never left the stove on, not once. His stove was electric with an auto shutoff anyway. Patient displays confusion about dates and appointments. He'd mixed up a dentist appointment once, showed up on Wednesday instead of Thursday. Every normal thing, every small mistake that came with being human, they'd twisted it, turned it into pathology, made him sound dangerous. At the bottom, a conclusion that made his hands shake. Patient Franklin Hayes is not competent to maintain custody of minor child. Recommends supervised visitation only. They weren't just taking his house and his shop, they were taking Tyler. Franklin sat in the dark kitchen, the papers spread before him like accusations. Down the hall, Tyler's soft breathing filtered through the door. The boy trusted him, loved him. And Franklin had promised Sarah, over her casket with the rain coming down, that he'd take care of her son, always. He picked up the phone to call Riverside Medical, then saw the clock. 11:07 p.m. They'd be closed. A soft knock. Tyler in the doorway, rumpled and half asleep. "Grandpa, you okay?" Franklin shoved the papers into a folder. Fine, buddy. Just couldn't sleep. Go on back to bed." Tyler hesitated, then shuffled back to his room. Franklin sat alone in the kitchen, ceiling fan turning slow overhead. One thought kept circling his mind like a vulture. If they'd lie about this, what else would they lie about? And how long before they came to take Tyler away? Morning came too soon. Franklin hadn't slept, just laid there watching the ceiling fan turn, thinking about doctors he'd never seen and evaluations that never happened. At 8 a.m. sharp, he called Riverside Medical Center, got transferred 3 times, finally reached someone in records. "Dr. Marcus Chin, let me check. We don't have anyone by that name on staff. He's a psychiatrist, evaluated me in November. Sir, we haven't had a psychiatry department since 2019. That wing closed for renovations." Franklin's grip tightened on the phone. "So you're saying—" "I'm saying if someone gave you paperwork with our letterhead, you might want to talk to a lawyer." He did exactly that. Sam Briggs had an office above the hardware store, wood paneling, law books that looked older than Franklin, coffee in a chipped mug that said "World's Okayest Lawyer." Sam had handled Franklin's business filings for years. Good man, honest. Sam read the papers and his frown got deeper with every page. "Frank, this is fraud. Forged medical records, fabricated diagnosis." He looked up. "But proving it takes time and money." "How much money?" "Derek Voss charges $400 an hour. I charge $150. He can bury us in motions, delays, paperwork, bleed you dry before we even get to trial." Franklin thought about his savings, maybe $15,000. How long before they come for Tyler? Restraining order could come anytime. Once that's filed, Sam didn't finish, didn't have to. They went through each claim. The school pickup. Franklin had been late once, 15 minutes, called ahead. The stove incidents never happened. The confusion about dates, one missed dental appointment. "They're taking normal life and making it sound like you're losing your mind," Sam said. "And Frank, they're counting on you giving up. That's the play. Make it expensive, make it ugly, make you walk away." Franklin stood to leave. "I'm not walking anywhere." Outside Sam's office, he saw the black Lexus parked across the street. Derek Voss inside, phone to his ear, watching. When their eyes met, Derek smiled, waved, then pulled away slow, like he had all the time in the world. That afternoon, the Lexus came back to the shop. Franklin was under the hood of a brake job when he heard it pull in. Mara got out first. 3 years married, and she looked like a stranger. Hair different, clothes he'd never seen, something hard in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Derek got out after her, put his arm around her shoulders, possessive, territorial. "We're here for Mara's things," Derek said, "from the office." Franklin straightened up, wiped his hands on a rag. "Mara, can we talk? Just us?" She wouldn't look at him. Derek answered instead. "She doesn't want to talk to you?" "Mara, you're too old for me, Frank." Her voice was flat, rehearsed. "I need to start over." Derek pulled her closer. "She deserves better than grease under her nails." Franklin felt something crack in his chest. This woman, he'd married her after Linda died, thought they could build something together, thought she loved Tyler. But standing there, in his shop, Derek's arm around her like she was property he'd already claimed, Franklin didn't recognize her at all. "Fine," he said. "Take what you need and go." Derek's smile got wider. "Oh, one more thing. We're filing a restraining order. You'll need to stay away from Mara and away from the house. That's my house. Not for long. Derek paused at the door. And Frank, Tyler's going into temporary foster care. For his safety. The rag fell from Franklin's hand. His safety? I'm his grandfather. That's for the court to decide, old man. They left. Mara didn't look back. Franklin stood in his empty shop, the smell of brake fluid and old coffee suddenly suffocating. He called Sam. They're taking Tyler, tonight. I'll file an emergency counter motion. But Frank, they have a court order. There's nothing we can do tonight. There's got to be something. Not tonight. I'm sorry. The clock on the wall said 4:30. Social services closed at 5. At 6 p.m., a social worker knocked on the door. Woman in her 40s, kind eyes, clipboard in hand, apologetic smile that didn't help at all. Mr. Hayes, I have a court order for temporary placement of Tyler Hayes. This is a mistake. Those papers are lies. I understand, but I have to follow the order. Tyler packed his backpack with shaking hands. Couple changes of clothes. His phone. For school projects, Grandpa. The drawing he'd made of the shop, carefully folded. Franklin knelt beside him. I'll fix this, buddy. I promise. Be brave. When can I come home? Franklin's throat closed. He pulled Tyler into a hug. Instead of answering, the social worker's car pulled away with Tyler's face pressed to the window. Franklin stood in the doorway, waving until the taillights disappeared. Inside, the house was too quiet. Tyler's jacket still hung on the hook. His cereal bowl still sat in the sink from breakfast. Franklin drove to the shop, couldn't stand the empty house, sat on the floor with his back against the tool chest, staring at Tyler's drawing pinned to the bulletin board. 2 stick figures under a car. Careful, loving detail. He reached for the bourbon bottle he kept for emergencies. His hand stopped halfway. The phone rang. Dolores' name on the screen. He stared at it. Let it ring. It rang again. He ignored it. 3rd time, he answered. Yeah? Frank. Dolores' voice was breathless, urgent. Don't you dare give up. I heard them talking. Heard who? Mara and that lawyer. At my diner. They were planning this, all of it. Franklin sat up straighter. What did you hear? Everything. And Frank, I recorded it. You recorded them? Every word. Dolores' voice shook. They talked about faking your medical records, paying off witnesses, selling the shop fast and splitting the money. Franklin's heart hammered. How did you... A loud knock interrupted. Someone at the shop door. Heavy, insistent. Hold on, Dolores. He peered through the window. A man in a leather jacket stood under the streetlight. Familiar build, familiar stance. Franklin opened the door. Ray Hayes looked 60 years old, and every one of those years showed. Same eyes as Franklin's, same broad shoulders their daddy had. But 20 years had carved lines in his face that weren't there before. Hey, Frank. The silence stretched between them like a canyon. What are you doing here? Heard you were having some trouble. How'd you hear? Ray shifted his weight. Word gets around. Franklin's jaw tightened. Mara called you, didn't she? Ray didn't deny it. Can I come in? Franklin stepped back. Ray walked past him into the shop, looked around like he was visiting a museum. Place looks the same. Dad would have liked that. Don't talk about Dad. Franklin's voice was sharp. You lost that right. I'm not here to fight about ancient history. Then why are you here? The air between them felt heavy with 20 years of silence. Their father's funeral, Ray taking more than his share of the estate, the shouting match in the lawyer's office, Ray leaving town the next day, never looking back. She called you for months, Franklin said. Tyler told me. Ray couldn't meet his eyes. Yeah, she did. And you didn't think to mention it? To call me? We weren't talking, Frank. So what? She recruited you? You here to testify against me too? No. Ray's voice was firm. I came to help you. Help her or help me? You, Frank, I swear. Franklin didn't believe him, couldn't afford to. I don't need anything from you. Ray headed for the door, paused with his hand on the frame. I'm staying at the motel on Highway 9. If you change your mind. I won't. I deserve that. Ray looked back. But I'm not leaving town yet, in case you do. The door closed. Franklin stood alone in his shop, more confused than before. He picked up the phone. Dolores was still there. Sorry, that was my brother. Ray, I didn't know he was in town. Neither did I. Franklin rubbed his face. What were you saying about the recording? Can I come by tomorrow morning? Bring it to you? First thing. And Frank, don't you give up on me. After she hung up, Franklin stared at the door where Ray had stood. Too many pieces moving, too many people he couldn't trust. He pulled out a yellow legal pad, wrote evidence at the top, underlined it twice. 1. Dolores, diner recording. 2. Dr. Chen, forgery, paused, added a third line. 3. Ray. The question marks felt heavier than the words. He couldn't sleep. Stayed in the shop organizing tools that didn't need organizing, cleaning workbenches already clean, anything to keep his hands busy and his mind from circling the same dark thoughts. Around 2 a.m., Ray appeared in the doorway again. Couldn't sleep either, Ray said. Franklin didn't tell him to leave. They stood in the work lights, two brothers surrounded by a lifetime of tools. Remember when Dad taught us to gap plugs? Ray gestured at the workbench. Right here, this same spot. Yeah, I remember. I'm sorry, Frank, for the estate, for taking that money, for 20 years of nothing. Franklin's throat felt tight. I'm sorry, too. Held that grudge too long. Dad wouldn't have wanted that. Think we'll win tomorrow? Don't know, but I'm glad you're here. Ray looked surprised, grateful. Brothers? Getting there. After Ray left, Franklin drove to the cemetery on the edge of town. Snow dusted the headstones. His breath made clouds in the cold. Sarah's grave. Fresh flowers from his last visit, frozen now in their vase. He knelt. Hey, baby girl, big day coming. Fighting for Tyler like I promised. The wind moved through the pines, peaceful despite everything. I'm scared I'll lose him, that I'll let you down, but I'm fighting, Sarah. I'm not giving up. He touched the cold stone. Wish you were here to see him. He's got your eyes, your courage. See you soon. One way or another, I'll tell you how it went. Dawn was breaking when he got home. He shaved, put on his only suit, the one from Sarah's funeral, straightened his tie in the mirror. Tyler was being brought to the diner by the social worker, meeting there at 6 a.m. Franklin arrived early. Dolores was unlocking the door. Inside, she pulled out her phone, set it on the table between them. If Derek finds out I recorded them, he won't. Her finger hovered over the play button. Frank, you need to hear this, but it's going to hurt. Play it. She did. Mara's voice came through the speaker, clear as daylight. The old fool won't know what hit him. Franklin's hand closed into a fist. Derek's voice. Dr. Chen signed the affidavit. $5,000, no questions. The recording went on. Plans to pay the Henderson couple. Plans to sell the shop property fast. Plans to make sure Tyler never came home. Mara, laughing. Frank's too proud to fight. He'll just disappear. Derek. And if he doesn't, we'll bury him in paperwork. When it ended, Franklin sat in silence. The coffee Dolores had poured him sat untouched, going cold. There's more, she said quietly. 3 conversations over 2 weeks. The bell above the door chimed. Sam Briggs walked in, briefcase in hand. Franklin had called him an hour ago. Sam listened to the recording, started taking notes. This is conspiracy to commit fraud, witness tampering, maybe RICO. Can we use it? In court? Absolutely. Sam looked energized for the first time since this started. I tracked down that doctor too. Marcus Chen died in 1998. The signature's forged. How much to prove it? Handwriting expert, 3,000 or 4,000. Dolores didn't hesitate. I'll cover it. Franklin started to protest. She held up her hand. You pulled Miguel from that burning truck 3 years ago. This is nothing. Franklin's eyes burned. He couldn't speak, just nodded. The bell chimed again. Ray stood in the doorway, leather briefcase, hesitant. Can I talk to you? All of you. I got something. Ray sat down, pulled out his phone. Derek Voss called me 3 weeks ago. Franklin went still. He offered me $10,000 to testify that you were abusive when we were kids, that you had anger problems back then. Sam leaned forward. What did you say? Ray hit play on his phone. Derek's voice. Just say he used to hit you, lost his temper, had anger issues even back then. Ray's voice. I don't know, man. That's my brother. Derek. 10 grand, cash. Think about it. Next recording. Ray calling back. I'll do it. Franklin's face went hard. There it was. Betrayal confirmed. But the recording continued. A meeting. Derek's voice. Here's 5 now. 5 after you testify. Just stick to the script. Sound of money being counted. Ray's voice. So I just say he hit us as kids? And that you're worried about the boy, that Franklin's unstable. Then Ray. You know what, Derek? I'm not doing this. Rustling sounds. Here's your money back. You just tried to bribe me, and I recorded every word. Leave my brother alone. Derek's panic. Wait, you can't. This is entrapment. No, it's evidence. The recording ended. Silence at the diner table. Franklin stared at his brother. I almost took it, Frank. Ray's voice was raw. I'm broke. Owe people money. That 10 grand. He shook his head. But you're still my brother. Franklin's hand reached across the table. Thank you. Ray took it. 20 years fell away in that handshake. Sam was already making notes. Ray, can I use this in court? That's why I brought it. Sam spread papers on the table. Here's our strategy. We file a fraud complaint with the Bar Association. Use both recordings as evidence. Get Tyler to testify. No. Franklin's voice was firm. I don't want him in that courtroom. Frank, he's the custody issue. We might not have a choice. Dolores put her hand on Franklin's arm. That boy loves you. He'll fight for you. He shouldn't have to. Sam looked at his calendar. Hearings in 5 days. Wednesday. Here's what we need. He divided up tasks. He'd handle the legal motions. Dolores would keep her ears open at the diner. Ray would track down Derek's paralegal, woman named Jessica Morris, who probably forged the signature. What do I do? Franklin asked. Visit Tyler, get his statement. And Frank? Sam's face was serious. Prepare yourself. Derek knows he's losing. He's going to come at you hard. They left the diner as the sun came up, townspeople starting their day, normal life going on while Franklin's world cracked apart. Across the street, the black Lexus sat idling. Derek inside, phone to his ear, watching them through the window. Their eyes met. Derek smiled, waved, pulled away slowly. He knows, Dolores said. Let him, Sam replied. We've got what we need. But Franklin felt it in his gut. He's going to do something. That night, driving home on the dark, rural roads, headlights appeared behind him, following close. Too close. Franklin sped up. So did the headlights. No other cars. Just him and whoever was behind him on this empty stretch. His heart hammered. Was Derek actually going to run him off the road? Franklin took a sudden turn onto a side road. The headlights kept going straight, but the message was clear. You're not safe. He got home and checked every lock twice. Sunday came. Franklin went to church like he had for 40 years, sat in his usual pew, back left. Conversation stopped when he walked in. Eyes followed him down the aisle. Pastor Tom gave him a long look during the sermon. Pity, maybe. Concern. After service, people who used to stop and chat hurried past. Bill Henderson, whose truck Franklin had kept running for a decade, wouldn't shake his hand. Martha Henderson pulled her grandson away when the boy waved at Franklin. He heard the whispers, shame, losing his faculties. That poor boy must be terrified. Only Dolores approached, squeezed his arm, said nothing. In the parking lot, Derek and Mara drove past, heading to brunch somewhere, laughing about something. Franklin sat in his truck, hands on the steering wheel, and wondered if fighting was worth tearing the whole town apart. His phone rang. Sam. Frank, we got a problem. Derek filed 8 motions this morning. Continuance. Change of venue. Expert witness challenges. He's burying us in paperwork. What's that mean? Means he's got 6 attorneys working this case. I'm one guy. Franklin closed his eyes. Can we still win? Yeah, but it's going to be hell getting there. That afternoon, Franklin had his supervised visit with Tyler. Sterile room at social services, social worker in the corner with her clipboard, 60-minute timer. Tyler looked thinner, dark circles under his eyes. How you holding up, buddy? Okay, family's nice. Tyler's voice was small. Not home, though. Few more days. Hearing's Wednesday. Tyler pulled out a folded paper, a drawing of the shop. Incredibly detailed, every tool in place, the crack in the front window, even the sign. So I don't forget, Franklin's throat closed. You won't forget. Tyler leaned close, whispered. Grandpa, I've been recording stuff. On my phone. Franklin's heart stopped. Recording what? Grandma saying mean things about you. That lawyer coaching me to lie. I got hours, Grandpa. Why didn't you tell me? I was scared, but I got proof. Will it help? Franklin's eyes burned. Yeah, buddy, more than you know. The social worker stood. Time's up. Tyler hugged him hard. Don't give up. Never. That night, Franklin couldn't sleep, stayed up making lists, checking evidence, circling Wednesday on every calendar in the house. 3 days until the hearing, 3 days to save his grandson, 3 days to prove that an old man with grease under his nails was worth more than a lawyer in an expensive suit. Monday morning, Dolores opened the diner to find a health inspector waiting at her door. Anonymous complaint, he said. Need to do a full inspection. She knew immediately. Derek. The inspector went through everything. Grease trap angle, temperature logs, found a hairline crack in one tile that had been there for years. Could shut you down pending repairs. Dolores kept her voice steady. Could or will. The inspector looked uncomfortable. Look, lady, I'm just doing my job. Someone upstairs wants this done. After he left, she called Franklin. He's coming after me. I'll stop. I'll drop the whole thing. Can't let you lose your business. Like hell you will. Her voice was fierce. Miguel's home safe because of you. This is nothing. Dolores? No. We finished this. An hour later, Ray called from the motel. We got problems. Private investigator just showed up, taking photos, asking questions about my criminal record, my debts. They're building a file on me, Frank, trying to make me look bad so they can discredit my testimony. Franklin felt the guilt like a weight. I'm sorry I brought you into this. I brought myself, and I'm staying. That Sunday, Franklin went to church despite everything, put on his one good shirt, drove to the white building he'd attended for 40 years. Walking in felt like running a gauntlet. Conversation stopped. People who'd known him since he was Tyler's age looked away. He sat in his usual pew. The wood was smooth from decades of Sunday mornings. Linda used to sit beside him here. Then Mara had. Now neither. Pastor Tom's sermon was about truth and forgiveness, about bearing false witness. Franklin wondered if it was aimed at him or for him. After service, the fellowship hall felt hostile. Bill Henderson saw him coming and suddenly found something interesting on the floor. Martha pulled her grandson away when the boy tried to wave. Shame about Frank Hayes, someone whispered behind him. Losing his mind like that. Can't believe they let him keep that child so long. Heard he threatened his wife. Anger issues. Franklin got his coffee and stood alone by the window. 40 years in this church. He'd been on the building committee, helped re-roof after the storm in '08, and now they looked at him like he was dangerous. Only Dolores came over, touched his arm. Don't listen to them. They don't know the truth. Yet. Wednesday they will. Franklin left early. In the parking lot, he saw Derek and Mara driving past in Derek's Lexus, heading to Sunday brunch, playing the happy couple. His phone rang. Sam. Derek's requesting the judge recuse herself, claims bias, might delay the hearing. Franklin sat in his truck, engine running, heat blasting. The fight was tearing everything apart. His business, his friends, his church, Dolores's diner, Ray's peace. Was it worth it? Then he thought about Tyler in that sterile room, clutching his drawing of the shop. So I don't forget. Yeah, it was worth it. Sunday afternoon brought the supervised visit, same sterile room, same social worker, same 60-minute timer that never gave them enough time. Tyler looked tired, too tired for a 14-year-old kid. Eating okay? Yeah, they make good food. Tyler pushed his hair out of his eyes. But it's not your mac and cheese. Franklin smiled despite everything. Wednesday, buddy. Few more days. Tyler pulled out his phone, glanced at the social worker, then back to Franklin. I need to show you something. The phone screen showed dozens of voice memo files. Some were hours long, dated back to October. Been recording since they first talked about divorce, Tyler whispered. Everything they said when they thought I wasn't listening. Franklin's hands shook. Tyler, how did you... You taught me. Pay attention. Document things. Tyler scrolled through the files. There's stuff about Uncle Ray, too. Derek trying to bribe him. I heard it on speakerphone. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I was scared. Didn't know if it would make things worse. Tyler's eyes were wet. But I want to help, Grandpa. I want to tell them the truth. The social worker cleared her throat. What are you two whispering about? Just family stuff, Franklin said. Tyler gripped his hand under the table. Will it help in court? More than help. Could win it. Then I want to testify. I want to tell them you're a good man. Franklin's eyes burned. Buddy, that's hard. Being in front of all those people? I can do it. For you, for Mom. The social worker stood. 5 minutes. Tyler hugged him, whispered in his ear. Don't give up, Grandpa. Wednesday. Never. Walking to his truck after, Franklin felt something shift. They had the evidence. They had the truth. They had a 14-year-old boy brave enough to stand up in court and fight for his family. Derek Voss didn't know it yet, but he'd already lost. Tuesday night, Franklin couldn't sleep, sat in the shop organizing tools that didn't need organizing. Every wrench in its place, every socket in order. His hands needed something to do. Ray showed up around midnight. Saw your lights. They worked in silence for a while. Two brothers, two wrenches, one engine that didn't really need fixing. Remember Dad teaching us on this Chevy? Ray asked. Yeah, you were too short to reach without the stool. I'm sorry, Frank, for everything. I know, me too. Think we'll win tomorrow? Franklin wiped his hands on a rag. Don't know, but I'm glad you're here. Around 2 a.m., Franklin drove to the cemetery. Snow was falling soft, covering everything in white. He knelt at Sarah's grave. Hey, baby girl, tomorrow's the day, fighting for Tyler like I promised. The wind moved through the pines. Wish you were here. He's got your eyes, your courage. He's going to testify tomorrow. 14 years old and braver than his grandpa. He touched the cold stone. If I lose him, I don't know what I'll do, but I'm fighting. I swear I'm fighting. See you soon. One way or another, I'll tell you how it went. Wednesday morning, 5 a.m., Franklin's alarm went off, but he was already awake. Hadn't really slept. He stood in front of the bathroom mirror. 63 years old looked back at him, gray stubble, deep lines around his eyes, hands that knew wrenches better than words. He shaved carefully, put on his only suit, the one from Sarah's funeral. Black, a little tight around the middle now, white shirt that Linda had bought him years ago, tie that took 3 tries to get straight. In the mirror, he looked like he was going to a funeral. Maybe he was. His old life. Or maybe Derek's career. One way or another, something was dying today. Tyler was being brought to the courthouse by the social worker. Franklin would meet them there. The drive through town felt longer than usual. Empty streets in the gray morning light. The diner was dark. Dolores would meet them at the courthouse. The shop looked small as he drove past. 40 years of his life in that building. Today would decide if it stayed his. The courthouse sat on Main Street like a judge itself. Marble steps, high windows. The kind of building designed to make regular people feel small. Sam's car was already there. Ray's truck. Dolores' sedan. His people. His army of 3. Tyler came in the social worker's car. The boy wore a button-up shirt that was too big. Hair combed flat. Eyes scared but determined. Franklin knelt down to his level on the courthouse steps. You ready, buddy? I'm scared, Grandpa. Me too. But we just tell the truth. That's all we gotta do. Tyler nodded, took a deep breath. Okay. They climbed the marble steps together. Inside, the courthouse felt like a church. High ceilings, echoes, everything polished and official and cold. Derek's side was already set up. 3 attorneys in expensive suits, Mara in a designer dress Franklin had never seen, the fake doctor, the Henderson couple looking uncomfortable. An army of lies dressed up as truth. Franklin's stomach dropped. David versus Goliath didn't begin to cover it. Sam squeezed his shoulder. Quality over quantity, Frank. The bailiff called them to order. All rise, the Honorable Judge Patricia Moreno presiding. Judge Moreno entered. 60-something, sharp eyes that missed nothing. 30 years on the bench, Sam had said. Seen everything, intimidating as hell. Everyone sat, the sound of bodies settling, briefcases opening, papers rustling. Judge Moreno reviewed the file, looked up at both sides. Her face gave nothing away. This is a custody modification hearing. Mr. Voss, your opening statement. Derek stood, smooth as silk, confident as a man who'd never lost. Your Honor, this case is about a child's safety. Franklin Hayes is 63 years old. He's declining. The evidence will show early-stage dementia, forgotten responsibilities, dangerous behavior. Derek's voice was reasonable, sympathetic, like he genuinely cared. Dr. Chen's psychiatric evaluation, witness testimony from neighbors and friends, school records, all painting a picture of a man who can no longer care for himself, let alone a teenage boy. He gestured to Mara. My client, Mrs. Hayes, loves her husband, but she must put Tyler's safety first. This isn't about punishment. It's about protection. Derek made it sound noble, made Franklin sound like a danger to his own grandson. The evidence will prove that Tyler Hayes deserves a stable guardian, not an aging man whose mind is failing him. Derek sat down. The smirk was subtle, but Franklin saw it. Around the courtroom, people nodded. Some looked at Franklin with pity, the old guy losing his marbles. How sad. Franklin felt every year of his age, felt small in this big room, felt like maybe they were right. Then Judge Moreno said, Mr. Briggs? Sam stood, less polished than Derek, suit a little wrinkled, but his voice was firm. Your Honor, this case isn't about an old man losing his memory. It's about fraud. Fabricated evidence, conspiracy to steal. Derek half rose. Your Honor, these accusations. I haven't finished, Mr. Voss. Sit down. Derek sat. Sam continued. The evidence will show that Derek Voss forged medical documents, bribed witnesses, manufactured a crisis to steal a man's property and his grandson. Sam looked right at Derek. The only danger to Tyler Hayes is the lawyer sitting across this aisle. We have recordings, Your Honor. We have proof. We have the truth. Sam sat. Franklin exhaled for the first time since entering the courtroom. Judge Moreno's expression hadn't changed. Mr. Voss, call your first witness. The petitioner calls Dr. Marcus Chen. A man in a suit stood up, walked to the witness stand, put his hand on the Bible. Franklin leaned to Sam. I've never seen that man in my life. Sam whispered back. I know. Let him lie. Then we destroy him. The fake doctor was sworn in, sat down, looked confident. Derek approached. Dr. Chen, did you conduct a psychiatric evaluation of Franklin Hayes? Yes. On November 15th, a comprehensive cognitive assessment. The lie hung in the air like poison. Franklin's hands clenched. Sam's hand covered his. Steady. And the battle began. The fake doctor described an examination that never happened. His voice was smooth, professional. He had the credentials memorized. Medical degree from Johns Hopkins, psychiatry residency at Mass General, 20 years specializing in geriatric cognitive decline. All lies, but good lies, the kind that sounded true. Mr. Hayes displayed significant memory deficits, the doctor said. Couldn't recall our appointment time. Showed confusion about basic dates and events, classic early-stage dementia markers. Franklin's jaw clenched. Sam's hand pressed down on his arm. Wait. I observed inappropriate emotional responses. Anger when questioned, defensiveness, paranoid ideation about people out to get him. Derek nodded along. In your professional opinion, doctor? Hayes should not have custody of a minor child. He requires supervision himself. The progression of his condition makes him a danger to himself and others. Thank you, doctor. Derek sat down, satisfied. Judge Moreno looked at Sam. Cross-examination? Sam stood slowly, pulled off his glasses, cleaned them, put them back on, taking his time. Doctor, where is your office located? Riverside Medical Center, Suite 304. Sam nodded, consulted his notes. Interesting. Riverside Medical closed Suite 304 in 2019. It's been a dentist's office for 5 years. The doctor's confidence flickered, just for a second. I recently relocated my practice. To where? I maintain multiple offices. Name one. Silence. Sam let it hang. Your medical license number, please? The doctor rattled off a number, rehearsed, ready. Sam pulled out a paper. That license belonged to Marcus Chen, who died in 1998, car accident on Route 71. The courtroom murmured. Derek was on his feet. Your Honor, relevant so. Overruled. Answer the question, doctor. There must be an error in the state records. Sam approached the stand. An error, or a forgery. He handed a document to the judge. Your Honor, this is a death certificate for Dr. Marcus Chen, died March 15, 1998. The fake doctor's face went pale. Sam turned back to him. You never examined Franklin Hayes, did you? I conducted a thorough evaluation based on what? You've never met him. I reviewed extensive documentation provided by Mr. Voss. The doctor looked at Derek. Derek wouldn't meet his eyes. Doctor, describe Mr. Hayes' office, where this examination took place. It was a standard medical setting. Mr. Hayes doesn't have an office. He owns an auto repair shop. The doctor was sweating now. Perhaps I misspoke about the location. Perhaps you're lying about everything. Sam's voice was quiet, deadly. No further questions. The doctor practically ran from the stand. Judge Moreno's expression had shifted, just slightly, but Franklin saw it, doubt, growing like a crack in ice. Derek called Martha Henderson next. Martha looked uncomfortable in her church clothes, wouldn't look at Franklin as she was sworn in. Mrs. Henderson, you're neighbors with Mr. Hayes? Yes, for 12 years. Tell the court about the incident at the school. Martha's voice was rehearsed. I saw Tyler waiting alone at the elementary school. It was 4:30. Franklin didn't arrive until past 5 o'clock. The poor boy was crying, cold, scared his grandfather forgot about him. Did Mr. Hayes seem aware he'd forgotten? No, he seemed confused when I mentioned it. Didn't even apologize properly. Derek nodded sympathetically. Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. Sam stood for cross. Mrs. Henderson, how much did Mr. Voss pay you to testify? I'm not being paid. Sam pulled out a bank statement. This is your account. 2 weeks ago, a deposit of $1,500. Wire transfer from Derek Voss's firm. Martha's face went red. That was for something else. What else? Silence. And the truth is, Franklin was 15 minutes late. Not 45. Tyler wasn't crying. Franklin called the school ahead of time. Isn't that correct? Maybe I remembered wrong. Under oath, Mrs. Henderson, yes or no? Yes. Her voice was small. He called ahead. Sam let her sit in that for a moment. No further questions. Bill Henderson came next, testified about Franklin's anger issues, a parking dispute that turned threatening, he claimed. Sam's cross was brutal. Within 5 minutes, Bill admitted the dispute was him asking to use Franklin's parking spot. Franklin had politely declined. No threats, no anger. But Mr. Voss suggested you testify anyway. He said it would help Mara. And he paid you? He said it was for expenses. $1,500 in expenses? Bill looked at his shoes. The pattern was clear. Derek coaching witnesses, paying for testimony, manufacturing evidence. But the courtroom still felt uncertain. Damages done. Doubt planted. Judge Moreno called a lunch recess. In the hallway, Franklin's team huddled. Sam was energized. We're chipping away, but we need the knockout. The recordings, Franklin said. This afternoon, Dolores first, then Ray. Sam looked at Tyler. And then you, if you're ready. Tyler nodded, pale but determined. Derek paced near the windows, on his phone, sweating through his expensive suit. Mara sat alone on a bench, staring at nothing. Afternoon session. Judge Moreno returned. All rise, all sit. Mr. Briggs? We call Dolores Ramirez. Dolores walked to the stand. Her hands shook as she was sworn in, but her voice was steady. Ms. Ramirez, you own Dolores's diner on Main Street? 20 years now. Yes, sir. On January 18th, did you observe Mrs. Hayes and Mr. Voss at your establishment? Yes. Corner booth. They thought I wasn't listening. What did you hear? They were planning how to fake Franklin's medical records, talking about paying witnesses. Derek shot to his feet. Objection! Hearsay! Sustained, Judge Moreno said. Ms. Ramirez, did you document this conversation? Dolores pulled out her phone. Yes, Your Honor, I recorded it. Derek's face went white. Objection. Illegal recording. This state requires two-party consent. Sam was ready. Exception applies when recording evidence of criminal conspiracy, Your Honor. Additionally, the diner is a public establishment with no expectation of privacy. Judge Moreno considered. The courtroom held its breath. I'll allow it. Play the recording. Dolores connected her phone to the court's sound system. The speakers crackled. Then Mara's voice filled the room. The old fool won't know what hit him. Franklin's hands tightened on the table. Derek's voice. Dr. Chen signed the affidavit. $5,000, no questions. Money well spent. Mara. And the witnesses? Derek. Henderson couple will say whatever we need. Another $2,000 total. Cheap insurance. Plans laid out in their own words. Selling the shop property, splitting the money, making sure Tyler never came home. Derek on the recording. Frank's too proud to fight back. He'll just sign the papers and disappear. Guys like him always do. Mara laughing. Should have married someone with money the first time. Live and learn. The recording ended. The courtroom erupted. People talking, gasping. Judge Moreno's gavel cracked like thunder. Order. Derek was on his feet. Your Honor, this recording could be doctored, edited, taken completely out of context. We'll have it authenticated. Continue, Mr. Briggs. Sam turned to Dolores. Ms. Ramirez, why did you record this? Because Franklin saved my son's life 3 years ago. Ran into a burning truck when everyone else just watched. I couldn't let them destroy a good man. Thank you. Sam sat down. Derek's cross-examination was desperate. He tried to suggest Dolores was biased, that she'd been coached, that the recording was fake. Dolores didn't budge. Nobody coached me. I know what I heard, and I know a good man when I see one. Derek had nothing, sat down defeated. We call Ray Hayes. Ray walked to the stand, put his hand on the Bible, looked at Franklin, steadied himself. Mr. Hayes, what's your relationship to the defendant? He's my brother. We hadn't spoken in 20 years, not until last week. Why not? Ray's honesty was stark. We fought over our father's estate. I took money that should have been split fair, left town with it, left Frank behind. Why are you here now? To do the right thing, finally. Sam nodded. Did Derek Voss contact you? 3 weeks ago, called me out of the blue. What did he want? Wanted me to testify that Frank was abusive when we were kids, violent, anger problems, offered me $10,000 cash. The courtroom gasped. Derek was conferring frantically with his associates. Did you take the money? Ray's voice dropped. Almost. I'm broke. Owe people. That money would have solved problems. But it's a lie. Frank never hit me, never hit anyone, and he's still my brother. Did you record your conversations with Mr. Voss? Every single one. Ray pulled out his phone. The recordings played. Derek's voice crystal clear. Just say he used to hit you, lost his temper, had anger issues even back then. 10 grand, Ray, cash. Think about it. Ray's voice. I don't know, man. That's my brother. Derek. Your brother who you haven't talked to in 20 years? Come on. The second recording. A meeting, money being exchanged. Derek, so here's 5 now, 5 after you testify. You just say he hit you as kids, that you're worried about the boy, that Franklin seems unstable now. Stick to the script. Ray, counting money. So I just say he was violent? Derek, and currently dangerous. Yes. Then Ray's voice firm. You know what, Derek? I'm not doing this. Sound of money being pushed back. You just tried to bribe me to commit perjury, and I recorded the whole thing. Leave my brother alone. Derek panicking. Wait, this is entrapment. You can't. It's evidence, and you're done. The recording ended. The courtroom exploded. Judge Moreno banged her gavel repeatedly. Order! Order in this court! Derek stood, desperate. Your Honor, I've never seen this man before in my life. This is completely fabricated. Mr. Voss, you'll have your chance to testify if you choose. Sit down. Now. Derek sat. His career was ending in real time. Everyone could see it. Mara in the back row looked like she might be sick. She stood suddenly, rushed toward the bathroom. Sam turned to Judge Moreno. Your Honor, we have one more witness, but I'd like to request a brief recess first. The judge checked her watch. 15 minutes. In the hallway, Tyler stood with Franklin and Sam. The boy was pale, scared, but his jaw was set. You don't have to do this, Franklin said. Yes, I do. Tyler, they're lying about you, Grandpa. Someone has to tell the truth. Sam knelt down. It's going to be hard. Derek will try to make you doubt yourself, try to confuse you. I know, but I got proof. I got recordings too. Franklin's eyes widened. He'd almost forgotten. Tyler's phone. Months of evidence. Then let's end this, Sam said. They filed back in. Judge Moreno returned to the bench. Mr. Briggs. Sam stood. Your Honor, we call Tyler Hayes to the stand. Tyler walked forward, so small in the big courtroom. A 14-year-old boy against all this legal machinery. He put his hand on the Bible. I do. The social worker helped him into the witness chair. His feet barely touched the floor. Sam approached gently. Tyler, you understand you're under oath? Yes, sir. Are you scared right now? Yes, sir. Why are you here? Tyler looked at his grandfather, then back at Sam. To tell the truth about my grandpa. He's a good man. Has your grandfather ever hurt you? No, sir, never. Forgotten to pick you up from school? He was late once, 10 minutes, but he called ahead to tell me. He always calls. Are you afraid of him? Tyler's voice got stronger. No, I love him. He's the only family I got left. After my mom and dad died, he took me in. He keeps his promises. Franklin's vision blurred. He couldn't stop the tears. Sam nodded. Tyler, did you ever overhear your grandmother or Mr. Voss talking about your grandfather? Yes, sir. Lots of times. What did you do? Tyler pulled out his phone. I recorded them. Derek was on his feet instantly. Objection. A child cannot consent to make recordings. Judge Moreno's voice cut like ice. Sit down, Mr. V. Derek sat. The judge looked at Tyler. Son, why did you record these conversations? Tyler's voice was small but clear. Because I knew they were lying about Grandpa. I wanted proof. Your Honor, Sam said, The minor was protecting himself and his guardian from fraud. The recordings are admissible. Judge Moreno nodded slowly. I'll allow it. Play them. Tyler's hands shook as Sam helped him connect the phone to the court system. The speakers crackled. First recording. Mara's voice sharp and clear. That old man is pathetic. Can't wait to be rid of him. Tyler's younger voice. Grandma, that's mean. Mara. Oh, grow up, Tyler. He's not even your real grandfather anyway. Your mother married into that family. You don't owe him anything. Franklin heard Martha Henderson gasp behind him, heard others shifting in their seats. Second recording. Derek's voice coaching. Tyler, when the social worker asks if you feel safe with your grandfather, I need you to say no. Tyler on the recording. But I do feel safe with him. Derek, I know, buddy, but we need to say you don't, just for now, so you can live with your grandma. You want that, right? Tyler, I guess. Derek, good boy. And if they ask about him forgetting things, you say yes. Say he forgets you places, gets confused. Tyler, but he doesn't. Derek's voice getting harder. Tyler, listen to me. Do you want to stay with your grandmother or not? Third recording, Mara and Derek planning. We'll list the property the day after the judgment. I already have buyers interested. Derek, the shop alone is worth $500,000, split down the middle after my fees. Mara laughing. Can't believe it's this easy. The old fool really thinks I married him for love. Fourth recording, just Tyler alone in his room, crying softly, talking to himself. I miss Grandpa. I want to go home. Why are they doing this to him? He didn't do anything wrong. The recording ended in silence. The courtroom was absolutely still. Several people in the gallery were crying openly. One of the bailiffs wiped his eyes. Tyler sat in the witness chair, tears running down his face. They made me lie. They kept trying to make me say Grandpa was bad, but I never did. I told them no. Sam's own voice was thick. You're very brave, Tyler. I'm not brave. I'm just tired of people hurting Grandpa when he never hurt anybody. Sam nodded. Couldn't speak for a moment. No further questions, Your Honor. Judge Moreno looked at Derek. Your witness, Mr. Voss. Derek stood slowly. He looked like a man who knew he was drowning but had to keep swimming anyway. He approached Tyler carefully. Son, do you know what it means to edit a recording? Tyler wiped his eyes. Yes, sir. You could have cut things out, made us sound worse than we were. I didn't. That would be lying. But you could have. Tyler looked right at him. I didn't. You can check the files. They're all complete. Derek tried another angle. You love your grandfather very much, don't you? Yes, sir. So you'd do anything to help him, even bend the truth a little? Tyler's voice was steady now, firm. I'd tell the truth. That's what Grandpa taught me. Truth is what matters. Derek was flailing. Your Honor, this child has clearly been coached. These recordings could easily be... Careful, Mr. Voss. Judge Moreno's voice was a warning. Very careful. Derek swallowed. No further questions. Tyler looked at the judge. Can I go to my grandpa now? Judge Moreno's stern expression softened just slightly. Yes, son, you may step down. Tyler practically ran to Franklin, threw his arms around him. Franklin held him, both of them crying, not caring who saw. You did so good, Franklin whispered. So good, buddy. Can I come home now? Yeah, you're coming home. Judge Moreno banged her gavel gently. We'll take a 10-minute recess, then I'll hear closing statements. In the hallway, Derek was on his phone, pacing, desperate. His associates were already distancing themselves, gathering their things. Mara was nowhere to be seen, still in the bathroom, or maybe already gone. Franklin's side huddled together. Sam looked exhausted but triumphant. We won. Even before closing statements, we won. Ray put his hand on Franklin's shoulder. That boy's got steel in him. Dolores was crying. Miguel would have been proud to know him. Tyler stayed pressed against Franklin's side. Wouldn't let go. Franklin didn't want him to. When they returned to the courtroom, Derek's closing statement was brief, defeated. Your Honor, despite some irregularities in the evidence, Mrs. Hayes acted in what she believed was the child's best interest. He trailed off. Even he didn't believe it anymore. Sam stood for his closing. Your Honor, we've heard fraud, conspiracy, bribery, witness tampering, child manipulation. Derek Voss didn't just abuse the legal system. He weaponized it against an innocent man and his grandson. Sam gestured to Franklin. Franklin Hayes is not the danger here. He's the victim. And that boy, he pointed to Tyler, that brave young man just proved it. The only threat to Tyler Hayes is the lawyer sitting across this aisle and the woman who betrayed her family for money. Sam sat down. Judge Moreno opened her file, looked at both sides. Her face was granite. I've presided over family court for 30 years. I've seen custody disputes turn ugly. I've seen good people do bad things under stress. She looked directly at Derek. But this is the worst abuse of legal process I have ever witnessed. Derek started to stand. Your Honor, sit down, Mr. Voss. I'm not finished. He sat. The petition for custody modification is dismissed, with prejudice. The courtroom erupted. Judge Moreno banged her gavel. I'm not done. Silence fell again. Full custody of Tyler Hayes is hereby awarded to his grandfather, Franklin Hayes. All property claims by Mrs. Hayes are nullified. The marital home and business remain with Mr. Hayes. Franklin felt like he couldn't breathe. Tyler was squeezing his hand so hard it hurt. Furthermore, Judge Moreno continued, I am ordering an immediate investigation into Derek Voss for fraud, witness tampering, bribery, and conspiracy. Mr. Voss, you are being held in contempt of court pending criminal proceedings. Derek shot to his feet. Your Honor, you can't... Bailiff. Two bailiffs moved toward Derek. He backed away, hands up. This is outrageous. I'll appeal. You're done, Mr. Voss. Remove him from my courtroom. They took him by the arms, let him out. His protests echoed down the hallway until a door closed and cut them off. Judge Moreno looked at the gallery. If any witnesses perjured themselves today, expect charges. This court will not tolerate fraud. She turned to Franklin. Her voice softened. Mr. Hayes, take your grandson home. Franklin stood. His voice was rough with emotion. Thank you, Your Honor. Don't thank me. Thank that boy. He did what most adults couldn't. He told the truth no matter the cost. She looked at Tyler. You're a credit to your grandfather, young man. Tyler nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. Judge Moreno's gavel came down one final time. Court is adjourned. The courtroom emptied slowly, people filing out, some looking ashamed, the ones who'd believed the lies, who'd turned their backs. Pastor Tom stopped at their table. Frank, I'm sorry. We should have trusted you. Franklin shook his hand. It's forgotten, Tom. Bill and Martha Henderson approached next. Martha was crying. We were wrong. Derek paid us, but that's no excuse. We knew you. Should have known better. It's over now, Franklin said, and meant it. Outside on the courthouse steps, the winter afternoon light was fading. Snow started to fall again, soft and clean, covering everything. The social worker appeared with paperwork. Mr. Hayes, Tyler is officially released to your custody. Take care of him. I will, I promise. Tyler hadn't let go of Franklin's hand since the verdict, held on like he might disappear if he loosened his grip. Dolores waited at the bottom of the steps. Pie at the diner? My treat. All of you. They walked together down Main Street. Franklin, Tyler, Sam, Ray, Dolores. 5 people who'd stood against the machinery and won. The diner was warm, smelled like coffee and fresh-baked apples. Dolores brought out pie, Tyler's favorite, and nobody talked about the case. They just sat in the booth and ate pie and drank coffee and let the world settle back into place. Thinking about staying in town, Ray said. Maybe get a job at the plant. Franklin looked at his brother. 20 years of silence, broken. Maybe work at the shop instead, if you want. Ray's eyes got wet. Yeah, I'd like that. Tyler turned to Dolores. Can I help at the diner sometimes? Washing dishes, maybe? Anytime, mijo. She ruffled his hair like she'd known him forever. Evening came. Franklin and Tyler drove home together. Tyler in the passenger seat where he belonged. The radio played low, some old country song about going home. Grandpa? Yeah, buddy? What happens to Grandma? Franklin thought about Mara, sitting alone in that courtroom, watching her scheme collapse. Don't know, that's her choice now. Do you still love her? I love who I thought she was, but that person wasn't real. He glanced at Tyler. Real love is what you did today, standing up for the truth, even when it's hard. Tyler was quiet for a moment. I was so scared. I know, but you did it anyway. That's what brave is. They pulled into the driveway. The house lights were on. Ray had stopped by earlier to turn them on, make sure it was warm. Small kindness that meant everything. Inside, Tyler's jacket went back on its hook. His room was exactly as he'd left it. Franklin stood in the doorway, watching him unpack his backpack. Hungry? I can make us something. Tyler looked up, smiled for the first time all day. Can we work on the Chevy first? I missed it. Franklin smiled back. Yeah, son, we can. They pulled on their work gloves, walked out to the shop together. Franklin hit the lights. The old Chevy sat there waiting, patient as ever. Tyler grabbed the gap tool without being asked, handed it to Franklin. See that? Franklin adjusted the spark plug. Patience. Right tools, steady hands. Like beating Derek? Exactly like that. They worked in comfortable silence for a while. The heater hummed. Snow fell outside the open garage door. The radio played something old and familiar. Grandpa? Yeah? What you said in court about promises to Mom. Franklin's hand stilled. You kept it. You promised her you'd take care of me, and you did. Franklin's throat was too tight to speak. He just nodded. I'm glad I'm home. Me too, buddy. Me too. Ray's truck pulled into the lot. Thought you might want help. Franklin waved him in. 3 people now. Grandfather, brother, grandson, working under the same lamp his daddy had worked under 40 years ago. The engine purred as they adjusted it. Perfect timing. Everything clicking into place like it was meant to. Tyler's phone rang. He checked it. It's Sam. Says Derek's being formally disbarred. Criminal charges coming. Justice takes time, Franklin said, but it comes. They worked until the snow got heavier, until Tyler started yawning, until Ray said he'd see them tomorrow. Inside, Franklin made mac and cheese. They ate at the kitchen table. Tyler told him about the Foster family. Nice people, but not home. Franklin told him about keeping the shop going, about the customers who'd stood by him. Later, Franklin tucked Tyler in, something he hadn't done in years. Tyler was 14, almost too old for it, but tonight he didn't protest. Grandpa? Yeah? Thanks for not giving up. Never even crossed my mind. Franklin sat in the living room after Tyler's light went out. Photos on the mantel, Linda smiling, Sarah at 16, covered in grease. He whispered to Sarah's picture, Kept my promise, baby girl. He's home. He's safe. The house settled around him, warm and whole and his. Outside, snow covered everything, making the world clean again. Spring came to Millbrook the way it always did. Slow, then all at once. The snow melted off the shop roof. Crocuses pushed through the half-frozen ground. The morning air still had bite to it, but you could smell green things coming back to life. Franklin and Tyler were under the Chevy hood on a Saturday morning, same as they'd been that January day when the Lexus pulled up. But different too, deeper, somehow. Tyler asked about his mom sometimes now. Franklin told him stories, how Sarah used to steal tools from the workbench when she was little, how she could diagnose an engine problem just by listening, how she'd laughed so hard the day she got grease in her hair and couldn't get it out for a week. She'd be proud of you, Franklin said, what you did in that courtroom. You think she knows? Franklin looked at the photo on the wall. Sarah, 16, grinning under a car. Yeah, buddy, she knows. Ray had moved into the apartment above the shop, came down every morning with coffee, worked alongside them like he'd never left. Some wounds heal, some brothers find their way back. Dolores brought lunch every Friday. Her diner had survived the inspection just fine. Funny how those violations disappeared after Derek left town. She and Tyler had their own jokes now, their own rhythm. Chosen family is built, not born. The town remembered, of course. Small towns always do, but the story that traveled now was different. Not the old man losing his mind, but the old man who'd fought back, who'd stood up when the system tried to crush him, who'd taught his grandson that silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. Some lessons you learn with your hands, how to gap a spark plug, how to time an engine, how to build something that lasts. Other lessons you learn with your heart, when to wait and when to fight. That truth is stronger than lies, even when lies come wrapped in expensive suits. That love isn't blood, it's showing up, it's keeping promises. It's a 14-year-old boy brave enough to tell the truth when the whole world's watching. Franklin taught Tyler both kinds of lessons, under the hood of a '72 Chevy, with spring light coming through the garage door and the smell of motor oil and fresh coffee, one old mechanic passing wisdom to the next generation. The engine turned over smooth, perfect. That's how you know it's right, Franklin said. When everything just clicks into place, Tyler smiled. Like us? Franklin put his hand on the boy's shoulder. Yeah, son. Exactly like us. Outside, the sign still read, Hazen Son. Inside, 3 generations of tools hung on the walls. The work went on, the teaching continued, The promise held. Some battles you fight in courtrooms, some you fight with recordings and courage and the truth spoken plain, but the victory, the real victory, is in the after. The quiet mornings, the coffee, and the work, and the people who stayed. The shop door opened. A customer with a car that wouldn't start. Tyler grabbed his tools without being asked. Life goes on, and sometimes if you fight hard enough and love deep enough and refuse to give up even when the world says you should, life goes on better than before. Franklin Hayes was 63 years old. His hands knew wrenches better than words. But he knew this much. A good man isn't measured by what the world takes from him. He's measured by what he fights to keep. And Franklin had kept his promise.